for him. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Whip Finish Wednesday. We're once again excited. Katie's over here just plugging away at the old computer, and I'm over here just jabbering away. I hope everyone enjoyed last week where we had our good friend Jeff Rowley come over and hang out with us. Hey, John and Mike, and Bill. Jeff tied up this deer hair diver that we gave away to Ruby Tuesday 11 last week, and he's going to actually be at the International Fly Tying Symposium this coming weekend, so we'll be able to give that to him in person. What's up, Blazing Outdoors, and Jimmy and Barry and Ken? Good day over in Australia. Good to see you. So that was a fun night, but we're going to get back to our regular scheduled program, and y'all are stuck with me and Katie for the duration of the evening. But thanks again to Jeff for joining us. I saw he was on here earlier. There he is. So if you're watching over on Instagram, if you lasted this long, come over and check us out over on YouTube. Just look for Demuth Fly Fishing. We've got 4 or 5 cameras, and you'll be able to see and hear a lot better, and we'll communicate with you a lot better. But back to you guys over in the YouTube world. Today we're going to tie a very special fly. It's really simple to tie. It teaches a lot of really good techniques, but one of the neat things about it is Katie and I use it pretty often. And I should have grabbed it, and I will grab my box here in a few minutes, but I've got a loose dry fly box, and I always have some. I've got one little section with emergers that have CDC on them, and I always have a handful of them with me. And since Jeff was up here, he and I went fishing, and this was I went there ready to throw nymphs, and he kind of did too. We're all rigged up, and we went out there, and the water level was really low. It's kind of hard to throw nymphs, but there were fish rising, so we tied a little parachute and dropped the Charlie Craven's mole fly behind it. And that was the ticket. That's what we caught the majority of our fish on for just 2 days, I think. And then Jeff, I went out again Sunday, and that's what I caught the fish on Sunday as well. So what's up, Mr. Barnes? Good to see you hopping on here. So quick agenda for tonight. We're going to talk about the competition, not really competition, but the giveaway that we're going to do. And we'll announce the winner next week. We'll talk about that. And that is going to be for this Umpqua Master Tying Toolkit right here. Brand new. It's got everything you need to tie a fly, except for the vise and materials. So we're going to talk about that. I'll also talk about when Jeff and I were out. I know, Steve, we're on. Hopefully, after the show, we'll be less than 50 away from 1,000. Hello, Mr. Penny and Jennifer Blazer. You and your husband are on. Awesome.
Happy birthday to all you present and former devil dogs.
Yep, Marine Corps birthday is coming up.
It's the 10th.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I had on my devil dogs t-shirt yesterday.
Yes, you did. I said you weren't a devil dog, but you're married to one, so that lets you wear it. So
I've earned it.
You've earned it for sure. So when Jeff and I were out fishing, we used this loon fly dip to treat the fly, and I'll show you a little bit about that and how it worked. So tonight we're going to give away a bottle of this loon fly dip. So it's kind of pricey. It's about $11, but it works really well, and Jeff can attest to keeping it up for quite a while. What's up, Joel, over in Florida? Mr. Foley, sup to you and the famous Equus Nan, aka Nan. Wonderful to see you on here.
Before we get going tonight, should I share some photos?
Yes, let's see some photos from last week, and I believe we even have one from the oldest 9-year-old, Emma. Not the oldest of the family, but Emma, I believe, did a photograph this week from Josh Riston's family. I don't know if they're on right now.
I don't know, but last week actually had Jeff Rowley, of course, was on the show, and that's Jeff Rowley's symbol right here.
His logo.
His logo, right? And he, of course, tied his diver. So we worked with deer hair, and it was all over the place, but we had lots of fun. So some of you all posted a fly that used deer hair, which is super awesome because we got to see lots of different kinds of flies with deer hair. And also, remember to tag us in the photo, because when you do that, it is so much easier for us to find your fly pics on Instagram when you tag us on the actual photo. So thanks to you who did that. And some of you guys emailed us a picture, which is also another great way to make sure that we see what you're sending. So let's take a look at some of these pictures. And this was Sergeant Bass Fishers.
Joe Jackson.
Beautiful creation with deer hair. And we also have J.G. Cannon with some deer hair. Is this a mouse?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I believe Jim Cannon saw Jeff tie live over in Cleveland, Tennessee, earlier in the week.
Okay. Freddie's Flies with some deer hair body here.
Little Irresistible Adams.
Mm-hmm. And Flame Lily Flies with this, looks like I would call it a beetle, kind of beetle.
Yeah, Wes Penny, he's on here.
And then Two Dry Fly, another really cool looking deer hair body.
Oh, Michael, that was phenomenal.
And then Jimmy Roop, duo of deer hair flies.
Jimmy did a great job on those divers.
Really, yes. And then Bear Grass Leather, for the first time in a while, hadn't heard from him lately. Decided to pull out the old deer hair, and
he made a popper with the deer hair.
A little popper out of him. And then we had a couple of flies that we got emails for this week that did not have deer hair. However, they were spectacular flies that I just wanted to share. And of course, the first one, another daughter of Josh Riston. And I can't remember if I showed this one last week or not. I don't think that this is one from last week. I think this is a newer one. Right?
Yep, this is
Emma.
This is Emma.
And Emma is 9. And this is the fly that she tied. So she's the third sister now to do this squirrel fly. And then I also wanted to show Ken B's fly from Australia, our friend Ken. And this is called a gold bomber fly. Gold bomb.
What's one of those gold bond?
No, gold bomb.
must be one of those Australian flies.
Yes, but this is a fly that is used to catch barramundi or barra, which is a good fish to eat. It's a good tasting fish if you like to eat your fish. So, with a little bit of a, what do you call these guards? Weed guard on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool looking.
Yep.
So, thanks everybody for sharing your flies this week. Please continue to do that. The best way to do it is to tag us on the photo if you post it on Instagram, or email it to demuthflyfishing@gmail.com. And we love to share your flies on the show. So send over anything. It can be something that we tied up, your own creation, but we'd love to see what you guys are doing in your spare time when you're tying up flies. So,
and what's our email address, honey?
demuthflyfishing@gmail.com.
Cool. So,
and we are going to be having a contest, right?
Yes, we are.
To win this Umpqua Master Fly Tying Kit that John showed you a few minutes ago. And there are going to be 3 ways that you can win this.
Correct.
Okay, so the first way, obviously, is to post a fly and to tag us on the photo on Instagram. And then tag Umpqua Feather Merchants.
Yep. You don't have to tag Umpqua, but this is compliments of
coming
Umpqua,
across,
and
yeah.
we really like to encourage them to support our show. And so, big thanks to Umpqua for providing this kit. So when you tag us in the photo, if you don't care whether in the comments or something, tag Umpqua, and that'd be phenomenal, because this is just about every tool in their Dreamstream collection. And it's a new color that they just released this specific kit. I'm not gonna go through everything it's got in it, but it's got basically everything in it. Couple bobbins, couple scissors, everything you need. So it's really nice.
All right, so you can be entered into a drawing to win that if you post a photo of your fly and tag us, and hopefully Ink with Feather Merchants as well. And then the second way that you can be entered into the contest is to comment on this video.
Yep. So use Umpqua kit or tying kit, but say Umpqua on there, and tell us why you would like the this kit. Whether you're Emma and you're like, I'm 9 years old and I really would like that kit because I got to use Dad's scissors all the time and he won't let me cut wire with his scissors. Whatever it is, put it on there. And then, but here's the thing: like Steve Yates probably doesn't need this. Jeff Rowley probably doesn't need this. But we want to see flies from everyone. And so, if Wes Penny posts a mole fly or posts something and tags us and says, "Hey, this is a technique that we learned," or just love Whip Finish Wednesday, wanted to share one of my creations, and because we're going to randomly draw a name. If say Wes Penny wins this. If he's like, I'm really not going to use this because I've got everything, I'm going to choose someone from the comments. So everyone who comments will get entered to win. Everyone who posts a picture and tags us in it will be entered to win. And if you win it and you don't need it and you want to donate it to someone else, then you can pick someone from the comments and then they can win. So pretty cool.
So let's get to tying now.
Let's get to tying. While Katie was talking, I went and grabbed my bag from this weekend. And unfortunately,
speaking of the devil, here's Rowley right here. Yes, we got to show Umpqua some love.
Okay.
For sure.
Speaking of which, I probably should have gotten rid of my water bottle before or when I got home. But here's my bag and here's my box. And it's kind of interesting because if you notice, we got this while we were at Charlie's Fly Box a while back, but this is one of those Miran boxes that let's go to the side view here. And I like it because you can let's switch over. There we go. Because you can put loose flies in here. They've got hackle or CDC, and you don't want them to get crushed down with in a fly box, because I know I'm really strange because I don't use every single fly like once a month. I'm not always circulating out my flies, but this way I can put different styles of flies. You see this side, this is like my small dry fly box. So this side's more sulfur, PMDs, and this is more blue wing olives and midges and stuff. But this little slot here is where all these guys are going to go that I've been tying my mole flies. And I tie these in size 18 to size 22. So, and James, when we say comment on the video with Umpqua Kit, after we've posted the video, comment, because that way we'll have a list of the comments. But we appreciate you saying you'd love to have Umpqua Kit teach your granddaughter to tie. That would be awesome. So that's the little box I was looking for. As you can see, that side is kind of low, and we'll just open this up real quick. What is it? It's Demuth _fly fishing to tie a fly, but make sure you tag us in the photograph, not just the comments. So as you can see, these are kind of teeny flies here, and they're easy to get lost, but just keeping them in here makes it pretty darn simple. So as Katie said, let's skip to tying, and then we'll give some stuff away. And you guys ask whatever questions you want. And if you're watching on Instagram, come over and watch us on YouTube. You'll be able to see better and be a lot more fun. So here's the fly. This is a size 22 mole fly. And the interesting thing is that I can't look it up on my phone because it's on Instagram now. But I asked Charlie yesterday, even though I think I've tied this on the show before. I asked Charlie yesterday. I said, "So, did you originally use mole dubbing, like mole fur, for the fly?" And he said, "No, it's based on another pattern that has a very similar silhouette, and it was originated on the Mole River, somewhere in Europe, I believe. So that's why it was called that." And I've got a really long explanation. Joel, Katie.
Well, I'm bored already. I fell asleep, so carry on.
Joel asked you to put a video together on the tagging process.
I said I can do something. I don't know if I'm going to do a video, but I definitely can put something up that like will tell how to tag.
Okay, cool, cool. Okay, so the hooks we're going to use, the TM code 2487. I've got this box here. I've got size 16 all the way down to 24. We're going to start with a ginormous size 18. And this is the biggest fly we're going to tie, and this will be kind of fun to show the difference. I do like to put it in slightly raised like that. It makes it tying a little bit easier, but almost like a shark or something. Here is the front section of the fly that Jeff tied last week. So kind of a little different. Here's the hook itself. So we're tying a fly that's almost as big as the diameter of the hook. So I'm going to use two different types of thread. So on the different flies, I'm going to start off with the Semperfli 12-aught olive dun thread, and then we'll go smaller. I'm going to do the 18-aught. Now you don't have to. You can use 12-aught on all of them, and you can use 18-aught on all of them. But just want to show that. So I want to start my thread on right behind the hook eye, and just put enough wraps to hold my thread in nicely. So see how we're not building up any bulk quite yet. I'm gonna put one more wrap just to get my thread straight up and down right there by the hook eye. Okay, let's switch over to the side. So the next material I'm going to use is floor fiber, and this was the only package I had that still had the label on it, but this is floor fiber. And I have it in white. And so usually after I take it out, I just have this little bag that I keep it in. So I know exactly what color it is. And I'm going to get 3 strands. And I'm going to show you how that when you're tying this, how not to waste a bunch of material. I'm going to get 3 strands. I'll hold it up. Cut it right at the base there. And put this aside. So one thing, if you'll just put it in your mouth, it'll kind of help them stick together. So while the screen is right there, you'll be able to see this really easily. I just grab my material and bring it and set it right on top of the hook shank, just like this. Well, no, I can't do it. Just like this. So now my material, we'll switch back over to the to the vise. There you go. So now we've got the material secured like that. It makes it a little bit easier than trying to do a pinch wrap. And as far as length, I'll just grab my material in the back and pull it until it's the length that I'm going for. Now I'm leaving it a little bit long because I'm going to trim it, but I don't want to tie it in halfways because otherwise I'm just going to waste. I'm just going to waste a lot of material. And Brian, I've got a bunch of other emerger CDC patterns for sulfur, so I haven't tried it for that one, but I don't think that'd be a bad idea at all. I might have to give this one a shot. So I'll tie it in size 16 and 18, maybe a 14, maybe. Okay, so now with minimal wraps, we got this tied in. Now I want to keep pulling this up to make sure that my eye is clear. So if you can see, I can see just a little bit of hook shank, just a teeny bit of hook shank behind the eye. If I've got it tied all the way up to the eye and there's no space there, It'll make it a little bit more difficult when I'm whip finishing if you just don't leave any space. So now I'm going to grab a couple CDC feathers. And what's up, Michael? You missed your picture. So I got a couple CDC feathers here. I'm going to stack them up on top of each other. Maybe. And get the tips aligned. So let's get them lined up just right. So we've got our tips lined up. I'm going to pinch the tips like this or like that. And just pull a few of them back. So I've got a really big chunk here. Relatively is pretty long. I'll pull this forward. And now I've got a little tuft here. Now what I'm going for is for the bundle to be the length of the hook shank. So I'm going to set this on here. We'll do a little pinch wrap. Okay. And now I'm going to pull this to length just a little bit. Just so it's right. Now I'll bring this back. Like this. I'm going to cut this off at an angle. So I put my scissors, pull this down, and cut it. So I've got a little angle cut. Okay. So 2 materials so far. I'm going to wrap this down until I just cover up those butt ends. And now I'm ready to tie in my dubbing. Now the dubbing that Charlie uses is going to be beaver dubbing. In this case, I'm going to use the Nature Spirit beaver dubbing. And I didn't realize until yesterday that he uses brown. I've always used the bluing olive. But on this bigger one, I'll start off with the brown, just for the heck of it. It won't show up quite as good. When we go to the smaller ones, we'll do bluing olive.
Wait. You used the wrong color all that time?
This whole time. I can't believe the fish are eating it. I've been using bluing olive and didn't know.
I'm confused.
I know. Crazy.
That's just weird.
Yeah. But anyway, so I've got a little teeny tiny pinch here. You can see this here. What I want to grab is really the smallest amount that I possibly can. So can you see there? When I dub it, you'll be able to see it. So just got just a little bit. I'm going to keep doing this until I get a little dubbing noodle. I want to try to keep this noodle pretty level. I don't want it real bumpy. And if you get any guard hairs or anything in your dubbing when you're dubbing it, just go and pull them out. And if you don't, it's not the end of the world. This is doing this right now, like taking your time with it to get it to where it's nice and smooth, saves you quite a bit of time. And in the future, you do not need to put a taper in your dubbing. So it should be about right. We'll slide this up.
Michael, do you reuse the CDC just cut for the next one?
Yep, I'm gonna show that here in just a second as
sure.
well. Katie's like, does he reuse stuff?
Does he reuse? Yeah. I found a piece of tinsel on the steps today, and I ran over there. I was like, I found this.
I couldn't even see. I thought it was a hair. All right, so now I'm gonna bring my thread back to the. And you notice it's kind of in the way, but I'll leave the floor fiber tied in. I'll bring this back. Let me slide it forward just a pinch. I'll leave the floor fiber tied in. I'll show you why in just a minute. We're going to bring it all the way up. So you want to bring this roughly down, about halfway down the hook bend. Now we're just, see how we're not building much of a taper, but when we get to the, there's a guard here. When we get to where the CDC fibers were cut, that'll give us just enough taper. And now I'm going to pull this down. Now I've got our fly done. See how that's kind of not showing up good on the camera. Yeah, hopefully you can see it enough. I'm gonna put one wrap. I might put a couple wraps there. And that one guard hair, I'll go ahead and pull it out. So now we're ready to grab our whip finisher. CDC Puffs in his version. John, I've seen that and I've used it, and I'm sure 100% that it works. 3 and 4, I'm sure that using a puff works, but they do have a completely different consistency. as far as a different look. So the main reason that I'm using the actual feathers on it is so
to make up for the fact that you had the wrong color of dubbing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to go by the real pattern, but you know. Okay, so the reason I waited to cut off and cut my floor fiber to length is now I can kind of adjust. I can adjust this a little bit. If as you're tying it, you know, if I cut it before I tied the CDC and it could possibly roll to one side, and when you cut it kind of short, it's a little harder to grab onto. But now I can grab it and just get it right where I want it. And when you cut it, you want to cut it just a skosh longer than the CDC, so about like that. And then now let's switch over to the side. Here's a trick. The side view. All right, here's our trick. And you've seen me do this before with other materials. This stuff will go missing in a second. So just lick it so they stick together and grab your vice pawn and hold it right there. So I don't know if you can see that, but just trust me. I used the vice pawn and I stuck it. Actually, put it right over here so you can see it.
Similar magnet.
So grab a magnet, stick it on your vise right there. And then same thing with these feathers. A lot of times, because someone asked if I reuse them, yes. If I'll grab the vice pawn, stick it there, it'll keep them from blowing away. Because if you sneeze or cough or do whatever, those will yep, those will be gone in a second. So that was a big size 18.
Especially if you sneeze like Gary on SNL.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on to size 20. I'm gonna tie this one with a blue ing olive, the color that probably won't work. And we'll do this one a little bit quicker. Just a teeny bit, and then we'll give away some stuff. Bill, oh, Freddie, we've already talked about you like 10 times, Freddie. So you're just missing out. Bill, the floor fiber per Charlie is to help us see the fly.
A reflector band.
So it really is for the because a lot of this is basically all natural colors, and so it's to help us see the fly. So I don't really worry too much about getting a good fan on it, having it disperse real well, but you do want it to stick out a little bit further. But I'm going to show you what one that's already treated looks like here in just a few minutes. So if you don't have floor fiber, I'd say go for it and tie the CDC. So now I'm going to bring my thread back to right behind the hook eye, leaving just a touch of space. I'm grabbing my floor fiber, and unfortunately it's not the same length, but it's okay. I'm grabbing it. I'm just going to set it right on top of the hook shank like this. Okay, hold my thread up, pull it to the length that I want. It's about right there. Put a couple wraps in, bring it forward, and put a couple more wraps in just to lock in place. And remember, don't go all the way to the hook eye. Leave just a touch of space. So see how there's just a little bit of space there. So when you're tying these small, teeny tiny flies, they're just don't overcomplicate it. Don't make anything that's not. What's up, on-stream assassins? Lighter color CC feather instead of floor fiber. Yep. Don't overcomplicate it. This is very an easy fly to tie if you'll just take your time. It is not a one-aught hook, Cam, but Cam, you ought to come over and watch on YouTube so you can see this big one. It's a 2-aught hook. But if you'll take your time and you'll focus on getting your proportions, and truly less is more, especially with this dubbing, because I couldn't even show it on a macro lens, the teeny amount of dubbing. Like you're just barely put any dubbing on it because we want a long, thin noodle. Let's say long, maybe 3 inches, maybe 2. Because remember, it's supposed to be an emerging size 20 or size 22, an emerging blue-wing olive. And they're teeny tiny, especially around here. This is like when you go out, you see some stuff hatching. You're not sure if it's midges or blue wings. And you're looking around, you can see the fish rising every now and then. That's the perfect time to throw this.
Because it's moles.
It's moles, yeah.
Moles are hatching about.
And Mike, that's exactly what we're doing this weekend. Very good for tailwater. So Whoever asks if you can reuse the feather. So I've got this right here. Let's switch over to the side so we can show here.
Not only can you reuse it, it's mandatory.
Yeah, and you can put it in pillows. Actually, once you get done reusing it, the little bit that's at the bottom you could use for CDC dubbing.
Everything.
Although I have started getting better about throwing feathers away. I was kind of calling out some stuff, tying this guy right here.
Well, when I couldn't find you one day behind your desk because you were covered in feathers that were just strewn about, that was a good time to clean them up.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is how we're going to reuse this feather. So I'm just going to pull everything back of the stuff that I cut off. See that? And then a few extras, and we'll cut that stem out. So now there's nothing left. Grab it by the butt sections here. Stroke everything forward. Get everything forward. Keep it nice and lined up. And now we've got this little clump here. I'm going to trim it just a little bit. Give us some. So you see how I kind of maybe. See how I've got that trimmed up now. So we've got another little bunch here. And you can tie it in long. So we'll just tie it in long here. Do our pinch wrap. I'll pull it to length. About there's what we want. Now we'll lock it all in. So this is the exact same feather we used. Now we did go to a size 20 hook. So we downsize it just a bit. So looking at that looks about right on length. Take our scissors, kind of give the CDC a little bit of a twist. Set our scissors down, pull this down. So I want to cut that at an angle. And if I wanted to, I could get maybe another one of this, but I'm going to pitch that one in the trash. What's up, Freddie? Howdy, Nan. James Ross, is this a Stillwater fly? I've never used it as a Stillwater fly, but I guess it could. Thought about putting fluoro in the bubble. Yep. So now we're going to work this down just to get those butts covered up. Just like that. So now we're looking fancy pantsy. And now we're going to go same dubbing, the beaver dubbing, but we're going to use a bluing olive.
Just cause.
Just cause. We may as well use like purple. Hey, I was joking, but I bet you purple probably work too. So the just that right there, that little ball right here, you can see it there on the mat. That's probably enough to tie 3. And that was a small smelt that I could pull out. I'm just pulling out some guard hairs now. So just have the pinch of dubbing in your hand, grab a teeny bit off. And I did switch over to the 18-aught for no reason other than just to show that you can use other size threads. And now we're just going to slowly build this. Yeah, just put too much on that one, but that should be good. If I was tying a bunch of these, I don't try to put this back in here, but as soon as I don't put this back in, I'll sneeze or something and it'll be gone. All right, so slide this up. If you notice you got a high spot, you can just kind of pinch your dubbing and stretch it back out. You okay, honey?
Yes, I just held my breath for too long and almost passed out.
Oh, don't do that.
I didn't mean to. It's just, you're so enthralling.
So enthralling. That's right. That's why you married me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now my dubbing is way too long, but it's okay. Now I'm going to bring it up. You see, I've got nice and thin. Not worried about building a taper. It's probably a little too thin there. So we'll bring that around. Pull this down. Pull everything back. There we go. Now we're ready to whip finish here. So this is size 20. 3 and 4. Pull it out of there. Now we're good. So you can see if there's a, can't see if it's already kind of roughed up. You can see that. One thing that Charlie does is he'll get a little dubbing brush, a little teeny tiny one, and he'll brush it out even more. I don't worry about that so much because it's already kind of loosened up. But the reason he does that, let me cut this so I'll show you how this thing is supposed to ride, how it fishes, and how Jeff and I fished it when we were. There we go. So see how that floor fiber is a little bit long there. There we go. And I'll put this back in my little pond so we don't lose it. Actually, there's probably enough for one more since they weren't the same length. Okay, so I'm going to move this in the vise and kind of move it up like that. So let's switch back over to the vise. So one thing that if y'all don't follow or if you haven't seen Charlie Craven's YouTube, go check it out because he does a good job explaining this.
And the dubbing you used was
Nature Spirit Beaver dubbing.
Beaver dub.
So if this line is my water surface, it's going to ride just about like that. Okay, and that's one reason why Charlie is very insistent on using the 2487 with the down eye. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my line straight. So that's the way it's going to lie. Yeah, that's the way it's going to float in the water. And the body itself is supposed to get wet and supposed to go beneath the water surface. Trying to read the comments, and believe it or not, as Jeff can attest, you can see it pretty easily. So what we did is we grabbed our fly, and you switch over to the side now, and we took this right here, the fly dip, and shook it up.
When you say this right here, the fly dip, you're talking about loon?
Yep, the loon fly dip. Thank you, Katie.
If you've never used it before,
you gotta try it out because this was new to us. I've always used loon Laksha, and on this definitely worked better than Laksha as far as it lasting longer. But also with Laksha, what I would do is I would put it on, and then whenever eventually your fly gets slimed or waterlogged, whatever, I would use a dry powder like a shake. And it's 2487, the TM code 2487 Wes.
That was size 20.
This was size 20 time when the Blue Wing version between 18 and 22. I think commercially you can buy them in 16 and 24. It's the 2487. You missed a number.
Did I?
So the way Charlie says to do it is just to do this right here, stick it in the floating, whatever kind of floating you want, dress it. We'll switch back over to the vise. And that's kind of what it'll look like. You can see how that's coming down. It's going down into the body. Like Charlie's like, don't get it, trying to get too much float in the body, but I'm telling you, the body will sink. Just wouldn't be fine. But you're like, well, how's that going to work? Well, you take this and you cast it a couple times, and that's going to get the bulk of the wetness out. And then let me back up. The cool thing is once this gets wet, you can kind of dry it on your shirt and then put it back in this dip, and it'll get it good. But this is what it looks like. This is one that just now stuck in here and let it dry for half a second. So that's the same fly. It just has the hair product in it, and it blew up pretty nice. But this little guy right here, you can see just fine. Now it is relatively inexpensive fly to tie. It is. Good night, Ed. Have fun in the tree. It
doesn't have a ton of materials, just a few basic things.
Mike, just treat it like any other CDC dry. And that's the cool thing about this stuff is it's good for CDC. But I mean, the thing is, these are so small, and once you catch a few fish with them, I mean, you replace them every now and then. I was not disappointed, but you're not going to have one of these that is going to get chewed on all day long and still float like a cork. But this guy right here, the way it's treated, will float for quite some time. And I think there towards the end, I was just dropping the whole fly in the fly dip and pulling it out. And the way we had this rigged up is we had a size, it was either 18 or 20 parachute. And we're sitting over here blow up. we had an 18 or 20 parachute, and then we I think initially I just tied it to the bend of the parachute, and then I did a dropper, had the parachute on dropper and this behind it, about 18 inches or so away. And I feel like Sunday when I went out, I should have made it 12 inches because it was getting kind of dark and I couldn't see my flies very well, either one of them. And I think them being closer together would have been a little better, but roughly 18 inches away. So this is the fly dip. So we'll tie one more, then we'll give one of these fly dips away. All right, so this is a size 22, Tiemco 2487 in the vise. And I'm going to use the Semperfli Classic Wax thread in 18-aught. That's all I've done. So fishing was hot last weekend, netted 66. Where are you fishing? That gum, 66. Like I netted 6 in 4 hours. The water was low, and at least it wasn't busy. There weren't a lot of people out. That was good. All right, so right behind the hook eye, and let's switch over to the side. I'll show you another little trick. So on these small hooks, like normally when we start the thread, I'll go like hold my thread here and I'll start wrapping like that, right? On these small hooks, it can be, there's not much there to catch. So I'll hold my thread and I'll bring it behind and cross over like this. Does that make sense? So I'm just hooking my thread over on the bottom side of it. Now I've really got one full wrap, and I can move my thread to wherever I want it. And then I can start my thread like this. It's a little bit easier for me doing it that way than it is trying to catch it here, because when I'm doing this especially on the curved shank and being so small, when I'm making that first wrap, I'm kind of slipping around before I get my first wrap in, then it's a little stickier. So, so once again, just bring it, kind of hook it underneath, and then start wrapping till you get it secure, pop it off, back to the front, but not too far to the front. Now we'll get our floor fiber, grab it from behind, bring it over and just set it right where you want it. Bring it back with a couple wraps, grab everything, and bring it forward. If you lose one, that's okay. Just do it again. And you don't have to check every single time, but see, once again, we've got a little bit of space there. Too much, but a little too much is okay. You don't want there to be not enough space. So I'm gonna grab 2 new CDC feathers. And these are short. Oh, by the way, this is I was really bummed. This is Trout Hunter CDC, and this is just natural. Like a dun color is fine. I think someone said using lighter colors is good too. See why I'm proud of my husband. I know he must be a professional over there. But just any natural color. Just think when you look at the bugs, natural bugs on the water, like what colors do you see? That's what you're trying to do. So I'm going to take a little chunk. Don't worry so much at this step about getting the length just right. Just don't get it too short, because once I'm going to pinch the hook shank, pinch my thread. I'm pulling down and kind of towards the vise. And now, see, that's a touch scotch on the long side. Pull that to length. Let's roll it up to the top. And that looks about right. I'll bring this back. Well, Jennifer, you say you're proud of your husband for catching 66. Katie, were you proud of me for catching 6 or 4 or none? Good grief. All right, so now I'm going to cut this off at an angle, and we can save this. And now we'll keep on going. Now, tying these teeny tiny flies, and I think someone said this when Jeff was tying last night or last Thursday. The they noticed that every one of his thread wraps had a purpose. And it's the same way with these. Like, make sure that you're not just putting a thread wrap on there for the sake of putting a thread wrap. You want to make sure every single one has got a purpose, because if you just build up, it's quick on size 22 or on smaller flies. You can build up bumps and lumps really easily just with thread by putting thread wraps that are unnecessary. This happens to be the Tiemco double arm bobbin. Actually, both of these are the Tiemco double arm bobbin for those are the ones that I'm using. I kind of like them for more of a lighter touch. So I'm going to twist this on. I'm trying to spend too much time on it. I'll probably regret it. Now I'll stretch it out, because keeping this consistent is kind of hard when you're staring right down. See this little light right here? That's what I'm staring at as I'm doing the dubbing. It's kind of crossing my eyes a little bit. So I'm going to push this up.
What thread is that?
This is the Semperfli 18-aught in olive dun. I think Charlie uses gray on his, but so I'm going to work it down. You want to go about halfway down the hook bend. And you see how I've got the hook position. Switch hook over to the thing. Well, it's front range if you make it. So you see how I've kind of got, if the hook was not in the vise, it would be a little more obvious. The hook's kind of going up a little bit. The eyes still facing down, but I've got it going up. If I had it tied in normally or hooked to my vise normally, the thread and different things would slip off the front a little bit easier. So and Charlie says this as well, but I start off with it in the vise oriented that way. So I've got really thin dubbing here. So I'll kind of double up on it until I get to my regular dubbing. There we go. So there we go. There's our little 22. Pull that a little bit extra off. Pull everything back. Put a couple wraps there. Now let's throw a little wet finish in. If it was a fall fish, they make a lot of sound of outrage. I'll tell you, I love seeing conversations. I don't know what's going on because it just makes me happy you guys are chatting. Okay. I'll cut that off. And now we're good. And like I said, you can take a little Velcro or something to that if you wanted to. We're going to cut this off like that. And now we're good. So that is and now I've got, I use all but this amount. There's nothing else in so from here to here of those 3 fibers. So I couldn't even get another size 22 out there. So that's pretty easy. Okay. So quick review, shall we? So we're going to give away one of these fly dips here in just a second. So stay tuned. If you have any questions about the fly, and then maybe I'll show the fly that I just dipped in a second. But if you have any questions about the fly, let me know while I talk about this other stuff. We're going to steal that worth dropping in. Steal away, but it is Charlie's thing. So, and also love it if you tag Charlie in any of this stuff. But next week, we're going to give away this Umpqua Master Tying Toolkit. And the way you can win it is tie up your mole fly, tag Demuth Fly Fishing in the photograph itself. We'd love it if you tagged Umpqua, because this is compliments of Umpqua. A lot of stuff we give away, we buy. A lot of it's given to us to give away. But this is compliments of Umpqua, so we'd love you to tag them, give them little props. You can also comment on the video on YouTube after it's posted, and and tell us, use the keyword Umpqua kit. But tell us that you want an Umpqua kit, because there's a lot of people that I would love to see your flies. Jeff Rowley, we use some of these. Love to see your fly. James Ross, I think he's using Simple 18 on it. Love to see yours. But there's a lot of you that probably don't need that kit. So if next Wednesday we'll randomly draw someone from the photographs that were sent in, you can email them to us or post them, and we'll add the comments on YouTube as well. If someone wins the tying kit that doesn't need it, they can pick someone from the comment section on YouTube that can get it. So I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, honey?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So Katie is going to write, or actually I'll write down. So I've got my cheat sheet here with Ruby Tuesday's name from last week. I'm going to do number 1 through 50. And I'm going to write it down. Let's see. Make sure you can't see. I'm going to X out number 7. That's because I was getting ready to do 79. That's what I was going to do. So 1 through 50. And we'll go. Got it. So go ahead and put your numbers in 1 through 50. And Katie, and then we'll, here in a minute, we'll tell you who wins. So Bill Brashear is 32, and we'll send you this wonderful bottle of balloon dip. But now it's pretty neat. Here's what it looks like after I just now. Let's switch over to the vise. This is one that I just dipped live. Right here. So you can see how it's kind of gunked up right there. So when you cast it, that'll get rid of a lot of that. We'll use the Velcro here. If I can get it to sit still. Let me put it in the vise so you can see it. So just kind of hit it up like that. And you see how it kind of all popped out. That's what casting it will do. And see a little dust and stuff. So like I said, the nice thing about this is once it gets wet or once you get slimed or something, if you'll just dry it off on your shirt, then you can drop it back in the bottle. Now, the one thing I did learn is just lock you in. And what's up, Truman? I saw you say hello earlier, and I saw Nan saying hello to you. It's awesome to see you here, dude. Sorry, I was in the middle of, I was contemplating, honey. You want to see what the number is? You can help look for.
Well, when they're done.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So
you just tell me when you're ready for them to be
done.
Okay.
Well, Equisnan, you tell us when everyone's done. But you see how easily that just popped up right there. It does come in 2 colors, but I've just used the white that I've got the done as well. But I like having that white there. You can see it just kind of works pretty well. If you dip it when it's wet, just seal in the water. No, it doesn't do that. It like makes it repel or something. Like it worked when we used it. So putting a wet fly in worked pretty well. But you can see on the camera here, you see all the dubbing here. I think you can see it. Well, I'm waiting on the. There we go. See how the dubbing there is all loose. It's not loose so much as it is kind of combed out a little bit. So that's what we want the water to soak in here and pull this down so it'll ride more like this in the water column. Only half the viewers. Come on, shy guys. Big 19. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
shut
it down.
Okay, so Katie says shut it down. We'll see if it's definitely one to try. I've been trying a bunch, and I guess there's some wrong options, but a lot of them do work. What is on the front with CDC? That is probably the floor fiber is what I'd thought. Those little sharp tips there. So the number that I just wrote down was, Katie doesn't even know this, 1 through 50. The number I wrote down was 41. So who do we have that's closest to 41? And Michael, you got yours in right at the last second. You're in. Oh yes, Freddie. I've got this written down on a piece of paper because Freddie's flies always reminds me. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd love it if you subscribe. We'd love it if you like this video after it's posted. But also, if you could sign up for notifications, click that bell, as they say, so you will get notifications when we go live because we might go live impromptu and all that good stuff. And Katie's working on the film for Jeff Rowley, finishing this fly right here. Do 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 do. And we'll post that next week or so.
Can we do this now? Are you
Yep.
ready? Or
I'm ready.
Okay, hold on.
No, James, it is not only for CDC. It works for lots of stuff.
Hang on, there are like extra ones that jumped down like after I said stop.
Yep, Michael Terry is 47. Someone guessed exactly 41 per Stevie
I don't know what
Yates.
the number is. So
I just said 41.
it's 41. Okay,
Yep.
So who guessed 41? Mike Phillips.
Mike Phillips did? Cool.
Mike
Well,
Phillips is a winner.
Congratulations, Mike. Just you can email us your address or text it, email it, or send it to us on old Instagram.
What is it called? Loon dip?
Loon fly dip. And we'll get this out to you. And yep. So cool. All right, let's switch it back over to moi. I'll say goodbye, then you can say goodbye. Okay, it's on me now. So guys, this weekend, Katie and I will be over at the International Fly Tying Symposium up in Somerset, New Jersey. Looking forward to seeing John Collins, and a bunch of you guys that are on here now are going to be out there. We'll get to hand deliver Jeff Rowley's diver that he tied to the winner of that. And Freddie's going to be there as well. So it's going to be really fun seeing you guys in person. We'll be live next Wednesday night. Everyone, post your mole fly. Tag us in the picture. And
I'll try to put an end screen that tells how to do that.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'll turn it over to Katie, let her say goodbye. And guys, we really appreciate you guys. You guys make this night so awesome for us. We'll see you next Wednesday night live. You guys have a wonderful night.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Come to the show this weekend if you can. Bye.